The most recent former president of the United States is Donald Trump. In August of 2022, the FBI executed a search warrant on his Florida estate, Mar-a-Lago, in order to obtain what was suspected to be files containing classified markings. This was lawful search and seizure of physical material. It was the first time in the history of the country in which such a law enforcement search was conducted on the residence of a former chief executive. It was not a raid in the traditional sense. No battering rams were used to break down the front door. The FBI did not suddenly appear with weapons drawn, ordering all occupants to the floor. No one was cuffed and led away in a paddy wagon. Yet when this event was initially made known to the public by none other than Trump himself, his goal was to portray it as the Department of Justice Attorney General being out to get him, where Trump presented himself as someone who had previously gone out of his way to be as cooperative to the DOJ as possible, even going so far during a prior visit by authorities to serve the government lawyers coffee and donuts. This negative painting of the August event by Trump as a forced entry by overreaching authorities obtained the results Trump desired. Those on the far right were absolutely outraged. On Fox News, it was all Trump raid all the time. Fox News retains the services of respected legal authority Andrew McCarthy, who ended up plastered all over the network 24/7. I wondered how the guy managed to get any sleep. But I'll hand it to Fox News. In order to give some credence to their coverage, they wanted to have someone who had a renowned reputation as a legal scholar. Hence, they kept going back to Andy McCarthy again and again. The outrage on the far right cannot be overstated. It was baked into their coverage. It was all they talked about. As time went on, the matter of the search and seizure began playing out in the courts for all the world to see. That is, for all of those who were interested in following it. At the very least, we were able to observe the core of Trump's legal strategies, because how it played out here provided a glimpse of how he has always done it before in the past. For almost as long as he has been Donald Trump, he has always surrounded himself with lawyers, not one or two, but rather a team. This fact was apparent during the search itself, because while Trump was away in New York, he had some of his lawyers simply sitting around at Mar-a-Lago, who were there when the FBI arrived, a couple of which actually signed the receipt for the materials removed from the premises by authorities. So Trump always insulates himself with his legal henchmen. Part of his brilliance has been his way of weaponizing litigation, which is why in the past it has always been difficult for anyone to actually penetrate his armor, due to his layer of legal henchmen and propensity for weaponizing litigation. The problem was, this was a time in which he himself was blindsided, caught completely off guard. The Department of Justice had made the first move on the chessboard. The question now was, how would the Donald respond? What would be his follow-up move to the raid? That answer was not long coming. He took the matter to court, not the same court in which the search warrant originated, but a separate court, in which there would be someone sitting on the bench who would be sympathetic to the former president's plight, of which they found Judge Aileen Cannon. From their first hearing and filing, Judge Cannon let it be known that Trump was her man, come hell or high water. However, the DOJ remained locked and loaded, because you figure, their staff consisted of the best and brightest of the Justice Department attorneys in the country, who were more than capable of meeting the Trump henchmen in the center of the ring and slugging it out blow for blow. Because, as followers of this saga can attest, with each and every filing by Team Trump, it was immediately followed up with a court filing by DOJ. When Team Trump made their first move requesting the appointment of a special master, DOJ was right there to say all the reasons why the special master was unnecessary and a waste of time. Since Judge Cannon was in the back pocket of Trump, without hesitation she granted Trump's request for the special master. Then came DOJ's next move. They did not object to everything the judge just handed Trump on a silver platter, but DOJ did ask the judge to reconsider some of her ruling. The DOJ went on to further stipulate, should the judge refuse this request for reconsideration by a certain date, then the DOJ would elevate the matter by going over Judge Cannon's head and taking the matter to the higher appeals court. Without hesitation, Judge Cannon reminded the DOJ that Trump is her man. As far as her giving any reconsideration at all to her previous order, you, the DOJ, Judge Cannon replied in so many words, can go pound sand. Next thing you knew, the DOJ was appealing to the higher court. Next thing we knew after that, the higher appeals court was saying, you, Judge Cannon, can go pound sand. We grant the DOJ's appeal. However, some of the special master's duties did remain in place. At the time of this clip, the saga continues, with Team Trump and the DOJ continuing to sling mud in the center of the ring, all of which plays out in a court of law. However, in the court of public opinion, Trump's foundation remains as strong as ever, even as more evidence comes out that the FBI's search proved strictly by the book, and that the mishandling of classified documents is a serious matter, regardless as to how many buildings you have your name plastered on. In the months since the raid took place, I cannot help but wonder, whatever happened to the outrage on the right? Why is it that Fox News has suddenly found so many other things to talk about and cover besides this? It is amazing how an event can receive so much non-stop coverage at one moment on a particular network, and in the very next breath, nothing, not a whisper. And whatever happened to Andy McCarthy? You know, the guy in the beginning was all over the place to give credence to their coverage. He's nowhere to be found within the Fox News lineup to discuss this topic. It might have something to do with that expose he wrote after more evidence came out, and in his view the likelihood Trump will become indicted. It may have something to do with how he no longer is following the network's narrative to be in the tank for Trump, come hell or high water. Only time will tell if those on the left will have cause to celebrate Trump's demise due to this event, as celebratory as they had been the day he was fired from the White House. Only time will tell if he will use another of his non-lives to dodge yet another bullet. Stay tuned.